Sometimes BookTube drives me slightly mad. A few weeks ago, people were saying that BookTube encourages too much consumerism. Then people started saying nobody has a right to tell someone else how to spend their own money. And honestly, I think both conversations have missed the point. I've said this before, and I'll happily say it again. If you've worked hard and you've got some spare money, and buying books genuinely makes you happy, buy the goddamn books. Life is unbelievably short. You're only here once. If collecting beautiful editions or building a library gives you genuine happiness, do it. Nobody on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, or whatever fluff piece is floating around social media decides how you spend your money. But going through my mum's belongings and then going through my own has changed the way I think about collecting stuff. And by the way, I'm not becoming a minimalist, don't worry. I'm not going to sit in my millennial grey box with my green tea in a white mug. I'm surrounded by books. I love physical media. I love old editions, weird little charity shop finds, things with stories attached to them. I'm probably always going to be that person, but something clicked when I was sorting through everything. I realised one of the kindest gifts you can leave another human being isn't a house full of possessions. It's the freedom to remember you without having to sort through everything you owned. Sounds harsh, it sounds morbid, but if you've ever had to clean out someone's home after they passed, you know exactly what I mean. People were surprisingly upset that I was donating books. People couldn't understand why I was getting rid of my own books or my mum's books. Others couldn't understand why I got rid of any of them, mine. And I understand where that reaction comes from. Books feel personal. Sometimes they feel almost sacred. BookTube especially makes Bookshelf feel like a extension of who you are. BookTok, all of those places do it. But here's what I learned. Not every book means something. Some books were impulse purchases. Some were bought because everyone online was talking about them. Some looked pretty. Some were bought with every intention of reading them, and then 10 years disappeared. That doesn't make you a bad reader, it just makes you human. There's a huge difference between a meaningful collection and accumulating stuff. And I didn't really understand the difference until I had no choice. Going through my mum's things was one of the hardest things I've ever done. It's still hard. There were moments where I picked up a jumper and I just completely lost it. Find a bookmark she left in a novel. Handwriting in margins, shopping lists, birthday cards. Something completely ordinary that suddenly wasn't ordinary anymore. Those things mattered. Things that told me about her. But keeping every single object wouldn't bring her back. And let's be real, it doesn't make grief easier. It would have only turned grief into storage, and grief isn't supposed to live in cardboard boxes forever. I cleaned out decades of stuff. There's one thought I keep coming back to when I was doing all of this, and I'm still in this process, by the way. Things are still moving, it's liberating. One day, someone is going to do exactly the same thing with your belongings. That isn't depressing, it's just true. Someone is going to stand where I stood. They're going to open cardboard boxes. They're going to open cupboards. They're going to open your personal items, your drawers, your clothes. Go through paperwork. Look at books. Wonder why on earth there are 3 different editions of the same novel. They're going to decide what stays, what gets donated, what gets recycled, and what gets thrown away. Doesn't mean they don't love you, but because life has to move on. And I think a lot of us live as though our possessions stay with ours forever. They don't. Eventually, every single thing you own will belong to someone else or to nobody. The mug you had for 25 years, the jacket you wore every winter, the album you've listened to 100 times, your favourite hardback with a cracked spine. Those things mean something to you because the life you've lived with them. To somebody else, they're just objects. They don't get the story. They don't get to remember who you were when you bought it. They don't remember reading that novel on holiday. They don't remember the arguments, celebrations, the people who gave it to you. Context dies with us. That's why memories matter more than possessions. And then there's something I don't think I ever properly understood before. Memory isn't in an object. Memory lives inside people. I don't need every single book my mum owned to remember her. I don't need that ugly vase that my grandmother owned to remember her. And it is really ugly, by the way. I don't need every piece of clothing. I don't need every receipt, every cupboard, every ornament. I need the things that actually tell her story and tell stories in general. The things that genuinely connect to her. Not the things I was keeping because I felt guilty. Because guilt is a terrible reason to own something. I think every family has one of those objects. You'll probably know what I mean by that. That hideous vase, that bizarre ornament, that chair nobody likes sitting in. That thing nobody wants to admit, but will say in private that it's awful. Except nobody throws it away, because your Aunt Margaret bought it in 1987, so it survives for another 30 odd years. Not because people love it, but because everyone feels responsible for it. Eventually, nobody even remembers why it stayed, they just know it exists. They know that I think we all know that oddly specific example. Every family has their own version of that, and it made me wonder, how much of our lives do we spend looking after things we don't even like? This whole experience made me ask a really simple question. Why am I keeping this? Not, what if I need it one day? Not, what will people think if I donate it? Just, does this actually matter to my life? Does this tell my story? Does this tell the story of the people I love? Does it make me smile? Would I miss it? And if you answer yes, keep it. Absolutely keep it. Surround yourself with the things that make your life richer. But only the reason you're keeping it, something is obligation. Let's be real. Some things you're keeping out of guilt, obligation, or because YouTube told you that every book deserves a forever home. Maybe it's okay to let it go. I don't think minimalism is the answer. Honestly, I don't. I don't want a millennial grey room with one chair and a depressing houseplant that I'm probably allergic to. That isn't me. I like books, I like collecting, I like old things. I like shelves that look lived in. But I want the things around me that have earned their place. I want to look at my shelves and my stuff and know why something is there. Not just because it arrived in a haul video 5 years ago. I think the biggest lesson grief has taught me is we're not here forever. None of us. One day, everything we've spent our lives collecting becomes someone else's responsibility. So maybe the greatest kindness we can give the people we love isn't leaving them more things. Maybe it's leaving them fewer decisions, fewer boxes, fewer cupboards full of guilt, fewer rooms that you have to empty while you're still trying to process losing them. Leave the photographs, leave the letters, leave the stories. Leave those memories that make you laugh. Leave those objects that actually matter, because those are the things people will treasure. Everything else eventually just becomes stuff, and stuff is heavy. Memory isn't. I think that's probably the biggest thing I can take away from all of this. Not that owning things is wrong, collecting things, collecting books isn't wrong, but and we shouldn't throw everything away. Just that I finally learned the difference between keeping something because I love it and keeping something because I feel I have to. One fills our homes, the other quietly fills your life with weight that you're never meant to carry. If going through Mum's things taught me anything, it's that love was never inside an object. Any object. It was always in the person. And that's one thing no charity shop, no donation box, no trash collector person can take away. That's it. I'm Darv James. This video was surprisingly difficult to record. Like, sub, tell me what you think in the comments below. And if you want to become part of a bigger conversation, you can always join my channel as a member or join Patreon. I'll see you in the next one.